Hey, TOB fans, Julian here. Right before we start, I may mention early on in this podcast that I'm going to try to avoid spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine as kind of a follow-up to our review from earlier this week. But we've both failed miserably at not spoiling that movie. It's very hard not to talk about the spoilers when you're talking about that movie. So just be warned right now, if you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, you might want to come back as we do dive into that for the first little bit of the episode as, a follow-up to our Deadpool and Wolverine review. So just wanted to give you a heads up, but otherwise, enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tower of Babel podcast. As always, I am Julian Mush. I'm joined by Jeremy Cozier.
Hello.
And we are going to be talking about San Diego Comicon. More specifically, probably mostly talking about the Marvel panel. We just reviewed Deadpool. I do feel like I have some additional thoughts that I didn't get out after I had a little bit more time to think about it.
Interesting.
You have any? Where are you sitting on it now after a few more days digesting it?
A lot more positive on it, to be honest.
I'm still mixed. It's very weird to me that, and I'll try to be spoiler free because this isn't a review, but it's very weird to me that I had such a. I feel, okay, here's the thing. I wanted to be like, wow, that movie was amazing. I really loved every second of it and just be blown away, right? Because...
But so now you're realizing it's a you problem.
I'm not saying it's a problem. What I'm saying is that's how I felt coming out of Furiosa, okay? But...
You came out of Furiosa
like just
what,
absolutely hyped. Like that was like amazing experience.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I didn't have that experience coming out of it.
Yeah, that's true. But with Furiosa, it's not like you have a bunch of like, like burning questions or burning curiosity. You know what I mean? Like with this one, it's like, oh, well, if we're in that low point, which you've all discussed, fatigue, blah, 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 all these conversations, underperformance, canceling this, canceling that, like, then you got to show me something. And I think it's just how you kind of balance that out. And then for me, my expectations were definitely like kind of I think similar to yours, and just kind of, just let's see what you got in terms of like, something new to say, I guess. But what we got, it was just so it was like a part. It's like a go to a party.
Yeah, it's more of the same.
Like the movie
right?
is,
but that's not a bad thing.
It's just a total, yeah. Like it's just a total party movie that just goes, and is laugh out loud funny for sure, right? And then the cameos are actually
genuinely surprising. Yes,
shocking.
Yes. Although we didn't really talk about this in our review, but it does feel like a missed opportunity to not have more of the X-Men characters involved, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's where my disappointment lies. I think even coming off X-Men 97 and just being really hyped about that world, that team, and a new iteration live action that could be coming forward. But then also with Hugh coming back, just another celebration,
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like of what these characters mean to these actors and their legacy and film right now, what they can do, what they can bring to it. And with Hugh, like we did acknowledge, for me in particular, like he just, whatever he does is just, you're just so glued to it. You're mesmerized by it. Like he's just a phenomenal actor. Like the emotion is just, it's insanely displayed here. And he's just so good.
I will say this. It does concern me a little bit that the only movie, and I think we talked about this a little bit in the review, but and I encourage everyone to go listen to that. But the lessons that Marvel is learning from these movies feels like, Jeremy, sometimes we talk about how like sometimes it feels like studios learn the exact wrong lessons from successes and failures, right? And this is a success. It's making tons of money. It'll make over $1 billion before the end of next week, and that's great for Marvel. And it means the MCU lives on, and that that's good. But what I think I was grappling with in the review and coming out of the movie on both times was one, yes, this was fun. I am just looking for a little bit more substance. And you think you mentioned it's like a me problem. It is possible that my expectations are becoming out of whack. Maybe I'm just getting older and I'm thinking like, well, this is fun, but I'd like a little bit more substance. But
I think you're onto something there. But also, it's a Deadpool movie. It's not necessarily like the Wolverine movie, but they treat it as such because we know the character, and to see him interact with X-23 and just see his troubles and like kind of where he went wrong. It was just all that just being acted up like superbly, basically. But there wasn't that tease of what's next. But I think if you just kind of realize, like, this wasn't just like, oh, he's like this. There could be something else with Hugh and potentially other X-Men.
I will say this.
I think that's very possible.
And that wouldn't surprise me anymore.
And if that's the case, this movie instantly becomes better because it wasn't just like this high expectation, one and done. And even if it was, like I said, it's just an unleashed Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, just hamming it up as his character. For you. Which is awesome. And with a cowl at the end. Which
is mixed. Our reaction to that is also mixed. It can look really cool, but it can also look really dumb. That's my so I saw this on Twitter. This might not matter at all, but it's interesting that it was kind of used as a plot point in the movie. So I'll bring it up again here. But they mentioned, so Hugh Jackman's Wolverine is the anchor being for the X-Men timeline, the Fox X-Men timeline. However, maybe, and like I recall this now that I was like reminded of it, but maybe you'll remember this too. But do you remember when when Logan came out, that they had said that the Wolverine Logan from that movie isn't the same Wolverine from the X-Men movies? Do you remember them saying that? It's also a different universe or a different character, a different take on the character?
They said, like, what you're talking about when they set
that
up
Logan, when it came out, they're like, oh, no, this isn't your X-Men X2, X3 Wolverine. This is a different version of Wolverine.
Oh, I don't know if I remember that.
I feel like they did say that. Ultimately, it doesn't matter because you can retcon whatever you want. But it is funny to be like, actually, no, the canonical end for the Wolverine that we know from X-Men died in Logan. Is that how you feel about it now? Or do you feel like...
I don't even like stress on what is who is who.
It's just the character.
I just think it's Wolverine. It's Hugh. He's in a different state of mind because of different historical circumstances. But a lot of those could be similar to what we've seen. We know his character. It's the same guy.
Yeah, and the movie uses, as we talked about in the reviews also, it's like the movie uses that as a crutch, right? It uses it as a shortcut.
Yeah, that's the realization. That's the new thing. That's the culminate. That's Hugh. That's the final
bridge.
thing.
They use that to bridge. So here,
and then the friendship, because it's him and Deadpool. They're holding hands. The song, the abs.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just so it like through that like perspective of Deadpool, like it's just very hard to hate on this movie. I think it's a Deadpool trilogy capper. It's the last one. They went huge. Hugh Jackman said, "I'm coming back. I'll do it." He knocks it out of the park. It's super funny throughout the whole thing. Great pace. Great action. Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like you get the sense that how they we were talking before, the MCU is kind of back in a way, and I think the getting to $1 billion this quick. That's
but again, like, huge. Does that mean we're going to get more movies like this? Because I don't know if that's necessarily what I don't need a million movies.
Well, it's just it's up to them to decide, what the reasons were, and hopefully Hugh is one of those major reasons. and they can kind of collaborate on where
I
they
think it's
go
just,
next.
is it just Hugh or is it X-Men in general? Do you think X-Men are the secret to saving the MCU?
Well, the thing is that they can just do what they're doing with Fantastic Four and just do an X-Men.
Right.
But with Feige, having historical relevance before, like it with Fox, so like on those movies, like literally working on those movies, he has a connection to like similar to how we do. That's why we're able to get back like the other Spider-Man and stuff, and like all these actors. And we almost thought they would just kind of cut that away, but it's like they're incorporating all that into their brand and those characters. Even though this movie is also a farewell to all that, like in terms of like that.
It does feel like a bit of a
but
closing the book on it.
It's like that stereotypical like graduation Green Day song, which is kind of a joke, but also it makes you still feel what that song does for those videos.
So, yeah, I mean it's
knowing what's next.
It's designed specifically to evoke a certain feeling. Yeah,
because like they're gonna do their own X-Men, right? But Fantastic Four had like failures before, and they can kind of just like, just
it's
start
crazy.
Fresh. But X-Men has so much lingering stuff going on, especially Hugh.
The Fantastic Four thing is crazy because the Josh Trank movie I've never even seen because I heard it was so bad.
Oh yeah,
and the like montage that they put in the credits.
You gotta include it. They're brief each one, but like you gotta include. They included clips from every single project, which I think is cool. I have all those projects on physical media.
Right, the original Daredevil, Elektra, Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer.
I think I'm missing a few of those ones actually. I don't know if I have Elektra.
That one probably feel hard to come by, and also another movie I've never seen. I've never seen Elektra. So
same.
I listened to the Filmcast guys talk about this movie, and they mentioned something that I think I agree with and did give me another perspective on the movie, which is to say Deadpool and Wolverine is a reward. No, they all liked it. Is a reward for having been engaged with superhero movies
Plus subscriber.
Even when they weren't popular, right? When they weren't the thing that was driving Hollywood, right? If you've been
you just get so much nostalgia from these actors, whether it's Hugh Jackman or Andrew Garfield.
Well, they make a joke that it's like for you to get this movie, you need to be over 30, which I think is funny, but I think true because if you think about it, like the first X-Men, what is that, 2000, right?
2000,
so we're now 24 years past that. So you would need to have been, obviously old enough to understand that movie, basically our age, right? 34, 35, maybe a little bit younger.
Yeah, but if you didn't see Hugh, you just see this crazy ass Wolverine.
No, I know, but that's not what the movie's made for. It's not made for new people. Because I think if you walked into this movie and you had no prior context of any of the Deadpool movies or Wolverine movies, so much would go over your head. It's like,
but so many people are going to go are seeing it, and
right? But I think a lot of those people have some of the
has experience.
I think most people have that background, but
yeah, they're just more showing up. But if you like, I don't know. It's hard to kind of.
I guess the question,
all that,
Jeremy, is like there's so many jokes in this movie, and again, I still think the comparison to those like scary movies is still I think the closest comp I can come to for this movie. But there's so many jokes in this movie, both standard fart jokes and whatever, but also metatextual jokes, and it gets really deep. I think there might be like one or two jokes that go over my head or I didn't understand the reference to, right? But otherwise, every joke, whether it was the reloading of the arms for Henry Cavill, right, which is like not front and center. You have to know to think about that, to know about the discourse. This is a movie designed for people who live on the internet. You know what I mean? Like you need to know about these.
Well, that's a critique that people throw at like creatives all the time because someone's coming up with that notion online, you're reading it. It's a whole weird thing that the internet does have some sort of influence if our creators are on the platform viewing things,
they're seeing the same shit,
things, liking things, like James Gunn, right? Like, he has to, and he deletes his tweets every 3 months or whatever.
Right.
because he can't have those.
He doesn't want to get fired again.
Pedophilia jokes pop up again.
Yeah. That's funny. I guess like.
But I would say this is in a good way.
That's what I was getting to. That's what I was getting to. I think.
So that's why it's a rousing success. It's like there's no other way to slice it. Even if you came out feeling how you did, or my similar feeling of that, I think through time, through just kind of sitting with it, I think it's undeniable that it's just like a all around everyone did.
Yeah, for me, it's such a there's no movie like this. No, there's even the previous Deadpool movies aren't like this movie, and.
What about Doctor Strange?
There's nothing like this movie, in my opinion. It is entirely unique in that way. In the combination of
Doctor Strange, even Wanda,
there's
Wanda
elements of that stuff.
Killing Mr. Fantastic, a multiverse version of Mr. Fantastic, with Johnny Storm getting similar treatment here. You don't see.
Well, no, I mean, okay, yes, there are similar elements, 100%, but the complete package, as I talked about, this movie that's designed to reward 30 years of movie watching. This like online perspective that allows it to have these other meta jokes.
But I mean, isn't it unavoidable with Deadpool as a character and everything he's done so far?
I guess. But what I'm saying is that like combined,
I think it's just the right amount.
It's entirely of this time. I think the one thing that I think you could say that is like it won't live on over time well because it's so specific to this moment. Right?
Yeah. I think that's fair, but at the end of the day, you get all these montages and action sequences with Wolverine and Deadpool that you can just extrapolate all those moments that have these needle drop, huge iconic
You're always going to be able to
songs.
screen grab Hugh Jackman in the cowl.
Yeah.
Right? That'll always be possible.
Right. Or the one shot with Like a Prayer playing with the cowl and the Deadpool core being sliced up. You got in the car in the Honda Odyssey fight.
The introduction of Blade,
like amazing. I mean the intro, like I was saying, our first initial review, like I think it's one of the best intros like ever. Like
it's just so surprising.
The intro credit sequence, like it's so funny though. Like just that song in particular, everybody knows, and that has already been like a joke or a cringe joke or whatever, and then Deadpool here just nailing it with like the dance moves in between and then just the fun fight choreography.
Oh, by the way,
you just like know you're in good hands when you're in those intro credits with that song.
Well, a couple corrections. First of all, not Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. That's the first thing. Yeah. We said the Backstreet Boys in the review. The other thing, I kept calling Cassandra Nova Cassandra Cain. Cassandra Cain is a character from Batman, not a Marvel character.
Isn't that Batwoman?
Yeah, so those are minor gripes, but I think I spent a lot of that review trying to understand why I wasn't as hyped about it as I wanted to be. But I think now, given time, I just respect that they were able to make this entirely unique experience that is essentially, Jeremy, tailored specifically for us. You know what I mean? Like we get all those jokes, even the extra subtle ones, because we were there.
It's a pocket for especially us, but it is like a grouping of a bunch of people who, if you're culturally like aware of like, you know, seminal like movies or just actors, like, and Hugh is pretty like, I mean, he hosts the Oscars, he has multiple nominations and roles. And then Ryan's no slouch too. I think he's been very active his entire career and had a lot of hits.
People seem to love working with him. That seems to be the
except for TJ Miller.
Well, is it TJ Miller or is it the other way around?
I don't know. I thought for sure it's the other way around, but I think I heard some sort of like I didn't finish the video, but there was like a video playing where he was like explaining it, how he'll never work with Ryan Reynolds again. I think
TJ Miller.
Yes, I think there was some sort of a Me Too movement cancellation there. But also Michael Bay despises him too because he was in one of the Transformers movies and Michael Bay couldn't stand him. But it was one of those things where he like had to include him because he was like the comedic relief of that particular Transformers movie.
Which one that was?
And no, I don't. And then, one of the ones
like
with
4 or 5 or 6.
Yeah, something like that.
With Mark Wahlberg. Yeah.
With Mark.
It's a
Yeah.
transformer.
Mark.
Found a transformer.
Yeah. And in that movie, there's like a very prolonged like sequence where he's killed.
Right.
He's like running away from a huge transformer and like telling everybody to get down. It's like all slow-mo, sparks are flying. And then he gets like lasered and like turned into dust. But like there's like all these like panoramic spinning, like slow-mo repeated shots of his like carbonated like body like exploding.
So you took joy in killing that character and having the actor die. That's funny.
Yeah. But he was definitely a very funny part of the first
100%,
two Deadpool movies. So it is unfortunate that he couldn't kind of stick the landing.
Well, it sounds like it's on TJ.
There, but he got Jonathan Majored before.
Oh man, the Jonathan Major situation is such a unfortunate situation.
A misdemeanor.
Man, crazy. I mean, it's crazy. He's a good actor. Yeah.
Have you seen the video though? He's literally jogging, like he was literally running away from the.
No, I haven't seen it.
The woman.
Either way, it's like it's done
because the cameras keep cutting to different cameras, like in the like downtown, like
or like the CCTV footage.
Yeah, like it's like cut, and it's just like he's just like upright, like perfect posture, like running, like away from the woman who's like trying to like drag him into the cab or like get away from whatever club night they're in. So
I imagine that he'll get an opportunity to redeem himself at some point. But
he's pretty talented.
Will it be with Marvel? I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so speaking of Marvel, should we turn our attention to San Diego Comicon?
Yeah, I mean, we just did. I don't even know how long that was. Of a
review number 2.
20 minutes.
Quick, just a little bit quick housekeeping. Reminder to our patrons and those who are considering becoming patrons. The Twister review for the film club will drop tomorrow or the day after. So just keep an eye out for that. Also, which is, I guess, technically a day late or 2 days late, but it's close enough. You're just going to have to forgive me. On top of that, next month, Jeremy, what's it called again for August? The film club movie? Heart and Souls. Robert Downey Jr. joint back when he was a very young baby-faced man. So look forward to that. Very different vibe, obviously, than Twister. But and then also, this isn't for Patreon subscribers specifically, but we'll try to talk about Twisters once we have a chance to see it. I have yet to see it. If you want to help support the show, want to get access to those episodes we just talked about, patreon.com/TowerBabblecast. So let's get into the San Diego Comicon of it all. And I'm sure there's a bunch of news. I don't know if there's anything from DC specifically you want to mention. The only thing that like jumps out at me is, before we get into the Marvel stuff, is the animation for DC Studios that like shows off like the original Superman design, original animated Superman design, which is kind of cool. It's unclear if it's unique to just the Superman legacy film, or if that'll be the Superman will be on top of all of them. I'm not sure. I like when they're unique to each movie, by the way. But the standout thing is it uses the old like circular design with the one with the stars around it, which I thought that logo was like would never be revived, to be honest. It always reminded me too much of the Shoe Company. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if you have any thoughts on anything on that.
On DC, I mean, the whole time you were speaking, I was basically like that Ben Affleck meme where he's in the interview and he's just kind of like staring, and it's like Henry Cavill's talking or whatever, and it's like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." It's kind of like that. Okay,
fair enough.
It's like, who cares what a logo?
Yeah, but one of the things that like I always liked was each DC movie had a fresh spin on its opening logo. My favorites were when they had the DC logo with the folding page, and then they would have different colors and affectation stuff that would like come out of the logo and stuff. I always liked that. So it's not, to be fair, Jeremy, it's about the same energy that people bring to there's new footage in the Marvel Studios logo. So, fair enough. And even Deadpool himself seems to enjoy at least the theme song. Bum, 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 bum. Anyway, let's talk about DC because that's really, Marvel, because that's really what was the biggest news out of Comic-Con. So the biggest news of the Marvel news is that Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the MCU and is going to be playing Doctor Doom, and is getting paid like a crazy amount of money for this, like an ungodly amount of money. And it is worth mentioning that Bob Iger, who's hiring this man to do this job, was just a year ago during the actors' strike saying that the actors are being unreasonable in their demands. Same for the writers, for the things that they wanted. Meanwhile, and that they couldn't afford those types of things, but they can afford to pay Robert Downey Jr. $88 million, or $80 million, I think it is, for these next two Avengers movies, which is more than any actor I think has ever made on a project, as far as I'm aware. So unbelievable. That being said, he's going to be back for the next Avengers movie, which has now been retitled Avengers Doomsday, as well as the Secret Wars Avengers film. So, Jeremy, new mask, same task. That was his little catchphrase coming out on the stage. Where are you landing on this? Because I have thoughts, but I want to let you go first.
Yeah, I think initially it's just kind of like a confusion, what, and then ultimately kind of deflating, I guess, just in terms of what we expected from Marvel at Comic-Con. But then knowing with like how they're trying to like simmer down the projects, the amount of them, and then just kind of like put more focus on individual projects. It just makes sense that they don't have like so much to just kind of throw at us, like a huge slate that's like set in stone. It almost feels like, to me,
it's a little reactionary. Like, feels like
we're just like in a different era now, where like it's not all going according to plan. And then we know that already with the shifting of the Kang Dynasty movie there turning into Doomsday. Secret Wars remains. And then another major component to this is the Russo brothers are back.
Which apparently Robert Downey Jr. was like, they have to come back for this.
Right.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they basically knocked out of the park with Infinity War.
And the movies that they did before
have
that.
Records. And Winter Soldier before that.
and Civil
War. But yeah, it's almost just guaranteed. Like those movies, those last two are billion-dollar records breakers. They took their hiatus and made their other movies that nobody saw. Except for the Netflix ones, apparently, which just do crazy streaming numbers. But that also to me feels like it feels right, but also doesn't necessarily feel like a big swing. And then you pair that with Robert Downey Jr., which I guess would be a big swing, but doesn't feel like a big swing because we've seen him before, and it almost taints what that is, because it's like you can't, like, Doctor Doom is such a major villain, like now he's just intrinsically tied to Tony, so we know they're going to do some sort of clever thing, but like it must be pretty clever and like cool. Like you got to just trust them at this point.
I think you're right in the sense that like I reserve judgment until I've seen what they do, and like they might still like pull the carpet out and be like, actually it's somebody else. It's like he was this version of Doomsday, of Dr. Doom is a variant of Tony Stark, but then we're going to, do you say Ben Kingsley? They're going to pull they'll pull a Ben Kingsley move.
You just had to register that in your mind for a minute or two.
I was like, wait, what? Yeah. First of all, it's Sir Ben Kingsley to you. How dare you?
Right, correct.
Yeah.
My apologies.
But I guess ultimately they could do something like that where they do a little switcheroo and be like, oh, well, you thought it was going to be Robert Downey Jr.
But then who cares?
But then it's going to be someone else.
Who cares?
But ultimately, to me, it feels like it disrespects the Doctor Doom character. Not that I have like this great love, but it's like
a little bit. But then also it's like he is like they say we got the best actor ever. It's like, he did win an Oscar. Pretty phenomenal in everything he does.
Yeah.
It's like just a magnetic presence, a one of a kind. But we just love him so much for Tony because he's the most like Tony than any of the
he's
characters
the most close. Yeah, well, that's his. The version of
Like,
Tony that we know from the MCU, which is now informed Tony in every other version of the character, is essentially just Robert Downey Jr. Right?
Right. It's just hammed up, like in terms of like what he's accessible to in a comic book form. So it's like,
but it's his personality. So it works. It's so authentic and it's endearing. It works, right? Now the question is, can he do that
and then
again?
We get, but also just to throw it back to Deadpool. There, we get spoilers for that. You don't want to hear anything there. We get Chris Evans in that movie.
Right, of course,
which is our Captain America in the MCU.
Yeah, but he was also, but to be fair, he was he already was
the tenure of
Johnny Storm at once before.
But they play it that it's Cap.
They do use that.
He's back.
Your expectation.
And on top of all that, the actor is literally back, and he has the legacy of Cap, which came out after Johnny Storm.
Yes.
And supposedly he'd just prefer to like leave that one where it was, but then as time has evolved in this new cinematic landscape with Marvel kind of saving cinema to a certain degree, which some actors are they don't
it's a there's a mixed feelings on it. Ultimately this decision, I think, speaking of mixed feelings, I think it's kind of split, not like not a Last Jedi style way, but it's split the fan base to some degree because I think there are people who are like, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe they got Robert Downey Jr. back. And others who are like, I think more on our side, which is more like something feels off about this. It feels like something's not. It's like you're telling me that there is not another Oscar caliber actor who can play.
I honestly, I really don't think it's that. Of course there is, but imagine the reveal. Remember, I think someone said some of the videos, because it's like you could hear a pin drop when he was about to like take off his mask or whatever on the hood. And so you can hear someone say Jared Leto, and then he takes it off, and it's RDJ, and like everyone screams or whatever.
Thing to say. That's so funny.
But like this reveal, Russos are back, Kang's out. It's going to be called Doomsday, and Secret Wars is coming out after. And Secret Wars is tied to Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Well, the whole Infinity, the whole
Doctor Strange, and even now Deadpool and Wolverine, and and then Doctor Strange is, and the third one of his is coming. So, I lost my train of thought.
I just think about this. You're like about this divide in reception to this, how well it was received in the hall. But I don't think there's anything you can do in Hall H that's not going to get you cheers. To be honest, like anyone could have dripped off their helmet, their mask, and people would have cheered. To be honest, like come on, in the hall.
But what actor though? Like it just would have been like what? Okay, cool.
Imagine it was Anthony Hopkins.
It would just be like, okay, well, I guess we'll wait and see. With
we still have to wait and see.
There's so many. Yeah, but with RDJ, there's so many questions and theories. But on what no one is discussing here, which I allude to with Chris Evans coming back, even though he played that character before, and then Hugh coming back for Deadpool. This Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, these villains. It's Secret Wars is going to lean on that. That is a very real thing that's going to happen, and they need to continue that until they get there. But what I think is more important here is that if RDJ is back, that means Iron Man is totally, majorly.
You think it's confirmed he will put on the armor again in that context?
Yeah, RDJ's not just coming back to just like, hey, I'm going to show you a little thing or two about playing Doomsday. This is Kevin Feige, his MC. This is his baby, his MCU. It wasn't just over with Endgame and then he's passing the torch. He's extrapolating everything that worked in the past and that it is possible to continue working with. And we've already seen that in all these projects. Right. Doc Ock, right? What's his name coming back for that?
Crap.
You're just never going to figure it out.
It's like on the tip of my tongue. Doc Ock actor. John Alfred Molina. That's
yes,
the one. Yeah,
correct.
Wasn't a J name at all. Just funny anyway. Sorry, go ahead.
So then, yeah, that like X-Men are for sure going to be teased again. So why wouldn't Hugh be there for that? Secret Wars is huge, but Iron Man is back. Cap is back. The other Hawkeye,
Thor
back.
never left.
Thor,
never left.
yeah. Black Widow, she's back.
Well, you think? I guess.
It's all the Endgame was not the Endgame.
Oh shit. Okay.
It was not. It was literally smack dab, kind of just past the middle, and we are in for a wild ride with a huge doomsday villain played by
too many characters.
RDJ with Fantastic Four coming up next year. This time next year, that movie will be out with a brand new cast, stellar cast, and it's all. I mean, so many possibilities.
Okay, but specifically around, like, the thing is, for me, the silver lining to this announcement around Robbie Downey Jr. specifically is that it does open the door to do interesting character and plot twists, ultimately, or dynamics that I think can be unexpected and novel and surprising. Whereas maybe you could argue that Doctor Doom as a character, the traditional version of the character, is a little outdated. You could always make that argument for Fantastic Four as characters anyway, but that's why they're setting that movie in the 60s, right? So maybe that's an element of it, but there is still just this side of me that's a little disappointed that instead of looking to find the next Robert Downey Jr., right? Who's the next actor that we can like lean on and create, magic with? It's instead, let's look backward. It's like this microcosm of the member berries stuff within the MCU itself, right? I think it's a part of the problem with the multiverse stuff, which is already a problematic. We talked about this a lot. The lack of stakes in multiverse stories is a challenge, and I don't know if there's a good way to solve it.
But doesn't this just add more stake with that character, like that actor who portrays Tony in this role, and how the story unfolds and what the motivations are and where was the
it feels to me like you could
divergence,
leverage it as like there's most the MCU has characters who knew Tony or knew Iron Man as a character have preconceived notion of who that person is, and then they can play on those expectations that the characters have with this evil version of him. But
so many more dynamics can be at play here instead of just like us just like waiting for like a Javier Bardem type villain once in a generation comes out of nowhere. It's like, are we really expecting the writing and the performance of Doctor Doom with all these heroes in history of the MCU in front of him? He's just going to be superior and meet them, and that's a tall order. And like, I don't know. Okay, yeah, pick the best actor you can find. They have a mask on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like that does not emote, and he's just a crazy villain that's smart.
Yeah,
sure. But now that Robert Downey Jr., which is basically a Tony Stark, is portraying this character, there's so many possibilities here on who it connects to, why, the weight of it, the fate of the universe, Tony's return or resurgence, or him battling himself, a villainous version of himself. I don't know. I think it makes sense in Kevin Feige's kind of his MCU where RDJ is at the center of it. There would be no MCU if there was no RDJ, and that rings true as long as RDJ is still capable and there's stories to tell around that. And it needs to be these guys need a reason to come back. It's not just the money.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they are paying a bit too much. As I said,
characters.
Like $80 million is too much.
Yeah, RDJ's always been $70 million.
But I think what we're talking about though is a scenario where in both Avengers movies, where his salary is so huge that it single-handedly, as they joke about in Deadpool about Chris Evans' salary, single-handedly affects what they can and can't do with the rest of the budget. And I think that's a problem. But
it's taken into account on the creation of this endeavor of a bet that they know RDJ
make $1 billion, so
gets the return. So that's all taken into account. RDJ just can't just swallow it if his face means numbers.
I guess.
Therefore, it's backed with numbers, and no one's losing out on a job other than another high-profile actor that you would have to hire for.
Right, but they probably wouldn't be making $80 million.
Would be more exciting,
right? Yeah.
No, but okay, $10 million. Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a massive difference.
Special effects, special effects are just.
Well, and the thing is, as we know, the special effects are expensive, and they've also been getting worse.
And the MCU, Kevin Feige announced that the MCU has made $30 billion.
That is crazy.
So this money and Disney buying up all these companies. So, and extrapolating as much as they can by just creating content, and Star Wars is at the head of that, and Marvel's at the head of that. And, the internet is what it is based off of what is being made. Hate it or love it. And clearly there's love, but there's clearly hate as well on both sides of the fence. Because some projects are just crazy bad, like the Rise of Skywalker as the number one culprit, essentially. It's so bad, it's like you don't even talk about it anymore, or even reference it, or I know I don't really. It's just like a waste.
Anything else on like the Fantastic Four front? So we know that they're going to be in the next 2 Avengers movies as well. It starts filming right away. It will premiere this time next year. Which was just short turnaround.
Finished wrapping filming, and Superman.
Yeah, someone pointed out online. It's like, hey, just so you know, Superman Legacy wrapped filming like a couple days ago, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. It was like 6 months shoot, and I just feel like we just started seeing set leaks, but I guess those were the or I thought they like just started shooting.
Well, it felt like it, and now it's wrapped, and it's like now they have a whole year of post production, which is interesting.
Which doesn't. It's probably not. It's not even that much time, like 12 months.
Well, if you consider Fantastic Four hasn't started shooting yet, and they're going to have even less.
Well, no, with that one, what I saw is apparently a lot of the pre
the previs stuff,
are complete because there's so much reliance on total CG essentially that can be interlaced with whatever live action footage they film within the next whatever months. But it's like the majority of it is kind of done on computers already with all their powers, which will obviously not be practical. They're not going to light that guy on fire.
Well, maybe they should just to get us some authenticity. Although I got it, the new version of Johnny Storm looked pretty good in Deadpool. So
but I like when Marvel's kind of like backs against the wall a little bit, and I think with Fantastic Four, it's like one of those major ones because of the iterations before, or the failed ones, I guess, or just the one failed one.
But, well, you could argue that Silver Surfer wasn't particularly well received, and neither was the first.
Yeah, like it wasn't a trilogy. It wasn't quite the trilogy, right?
They also didn't stick the landing. Those movies are fine. They're very very campy, a little silly, some decent. They're decent.
Nothing to really write home about.
But we know that Feige and Marvel has this sweet spot in their heart for the Fantastic Four, and they want to do it right. Oh
yeah, him in particular. Marvel's first family. Super cool choice to set it in the 60s.
I think that's the right choice. It provided me so much relief to know that they weren't going to try to do the same thing that they did with the Josh Trank thing again, which I know that they wouldn't have, but like
a modern sci-fi
exactly.
epic.
So this is a realistic more fun concept that I think will make it feel way more unique.
Probably simple outfits.
And I like, as you mentioned, killer cast, right? Pedro Pascal, obviously. But Vanessa Kirby, who I love, I think she's great. I don't really know much about Joseph Quinn, but Ebon Moss-Baccarat from The Bear is
wild name.
Sorry? Yeah, it
Wild
is.
name.
Eben Moss Bacharach, I think is maybe I'm not sure if I said that right the first time. But it is what a great choice for Ben Grimm. And another great act. Like, these are all great actors, with the exception of Joseph Quinn, who I don't know anything about, but I assume he's also good. Although you also argue that Johnny Storm is like the least interesting character on the Fantastic Four. So, and it's probably not even close, really, if we're being honest, right? He's kind of like the odd one out, even though I think that's how you're supposed to look at Grimm. But his whole like physical change and how he has to handle that is more interesting than Johnny Storm's kind of like whole deal. We also got to see our first look at Galactus. We obviously didn't, but the Hall H did, and they did did you see like the footage of the drone show that they did?
Yeah,
it's a cool idea.
That.
So yeah, Galactus,
cool.
Giant space being that eats planets. They're not going to do the space cloud methodology that they did for Green Lantern or Galactus, as we saw, and also those versions of the Silver Surfer. Anyway, how do we feel about that? Although the guy who does the voice, Jeremy, have you seen Green Book or Green Knight? Sorry,
no,
not Green Book. Green Book sucks.
No, I haven't.
Anyway, in the Green Knight, the titular Green Knight has this really crazy deep voice, like the deepest voice you maybe ever heard. Really great stuff. Is the same person who's going to be doing the voice for Galactus, which is kind of cool, but still, I do think it's still going to be hard to make giant space being that eats planets who wears a purple pointy crown work in this movie. But I don't know, like, what are your thoughts on Galactus as a villain and his like relevance today?
No idea, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I just know they want to redeem whatever they tried to do with him before, and just kind of probably go comic accurate, and that tease kind of shows him just being a gigantic titan, basically. So it's cool.
Okay. Thunderbolts premiered its first footage as well. It also, they added a little asterisk on the title, Thunderbolts asterisk, and they said they won't tell us what that means yet. What do you think the deal is with that?
I don't know. I just think they got a pretty cool cast of characters and actors there, and I think it's going to be kind of like a Suicide Squad type vibe, probably. I think it'll probably be fun.
I am concerned about Thunderbolts as being I'm worried it'll be a bad movie. That's my concern. But I think it's mostly.
What about Captain America? You worried about that being a bad movie?
A little bit. They did reveal more information about Giancarlo Esposito's character. Apparently, he is the leader of the Serpent Society, Sidewinder. So that's kind of fun. Remember when they teased the Serpent Society as part of the slate all those years ago? That's fun. So we'll see ultimately if they're trying to go for a more grounded approach like they did with Winter Soldier, and that's like their guiding star, chances are I'll like it more than I dislike it, because that tone of that movie is kind of like does so much work. Obviously the Bucky stuff is so awesome, and there really isn't another version of that you can do. But I reserve judgment. I do have some concerns. And I will say, bringing Harrison Ford to Hall H is such a crazy thing to do. It's so wild to think about. He lives up to the hype in terms of his disdain for stupid questions, which you got to respect, I guess, right? But it just seems like, how do they convince him to come to Hall H? It seems like it would be the last thing he would want to do. You know?
I mean, you've been like you're pretty adamant that you think he's like a super grumpy.
He is a super grumpy old guy. We know that.
I don't know, man. I just see opposite over and over again. The opposite. So,
did you see the clip of him when someone asked him about the 616 universe?
I think so. Yeah, he just doesn't really. He just acts like he doesn't care a little bit, but like in a fun, because he's just been around the block. Like it's like none of that stuff really matters, I guess.
I respect that he kind of is like, listen, it's a job. I'll go and I'll do my acting, and like, he'll do the legwork as a part of like the hype cycle, right? But it does feel like that's the annoying part of the job, doesn't it? Like, he's like not really into that. And again, to me, it's just amusing to see it play out in real time. And it's still crazy that they decided that, you know what, okay, we're going to replace the former actor who played General Ross, and we're going to use maybe one of the most famous actors of all time, Harrison Ford. It's like we live in crazy time when it comes to the MCU. Yeah.
Well, you also need star power for people to show up to a Captain America movie where, you know, Steve Rogers or
you think
Chris
Harrison
Evans
Ford's putting butts in the seats for Captain America? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see when he like pretended to be the Hulk on stage? Are you still was it you that said that you were like think that they're going to do a switcheroo on that and that he's not actually going to be the Red Hulk?
I don't think I said that.
I can't remember who I was talking to.
That'd be crazy. I mean, who else would
I don't know, but
because it has to be General Ross.
It doesn't. The thing is, though, it doesn't have to, because they'd like to switch. They'd like to do things like that every once in a while, where they kind of change up, like with Taskmaster, right? That wasn't who we expected it to be, or whatever. So that kind of stuff works for me. I would be open to the idea of Harrison Ford not being Red Hulk, but I think that's kind of sealed now. I'm pretty sure he is. Unless it's all another long con, which I'm you know what? I'm all for Marvel going back to the days of being like, we're going to just lie to you right to your face so that the movie's more interesting later. It's a bold strategy, Cotton, but it pays off. All right. On that note, I think we can wrap it up. Anything else you want to mention? Any last thoughts on the Marvel stuff?
No, but I think it's still like it'll be entertaining just to see what they're going to do with RDJ. I think the Iron Man of it all is kind of like more important here. And then what that's tied to.
No one's really talking about that. I find it so interesting that you brought that up. Everyone's talking about how he's going to do Doctor Doom. And I genuinely, Jeremy, I am like cross my fingers and my toes, and like I would love to see a uniquely different performance from RDJ for Doctor Doom, instead of just like a twist on the Iron Man stuff. We saw him do something very different from a performance standpoint with Oppenheimer. I'm not saying he has to do that specifically, but I'm saying we've seen him now do it. I would like, just like with Ryan Reynolds, it's like, okay, we get the Van Wilder thing. It's kind of his thing. There are other opportunities, and not with Deadpool specifically, but there are other times where I might be interested in seeing a Ryan Reynolds movie where he's not doing that shtick. If you're going to bring RDJ back, I feel like you have to do a unique, exciting, interesting performance that's different from Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would agree.
But yeah, I mean, I guess what was your first thought? Iron Man? Like you say, okay, he's back as Doctor Doom, but that just means Iron Man again? Is like that's where your brain went first?
That's exactly where I went.
That's so interesting because that's again crazy, because I literally have not heard a single person mention that. But I guess it's a great point. I mean, Secret Wars is going to bring everybody back and then kill everybody again, probably. So it's not necessarily surprising, I suppose, but I don't know.
Because Iron Man's obviously super important
for the purposes of that story.
Majorly important in all aspects of the MCU, the narrative, the story. Could be an anchor being which they introduced, whatever. And
I don't.
Deadpool.
The anchor being thing, by the way, it's fraught with all sorts of like. It feels very. What's the word? MacGuffin-y. It just feels very like.
Yeah, I can see that. But like, let's say like the collection of anchors or the purpose of them, like if there's some sort of through line, like if it's been invented like with a purpose that cues us in every now and then, culminates, then we can.
Yeah, with all this stuff, I'm willing to hold judgment until I see more. My initial reaction is not excitement. It's
confusion.
More disappointed. I was just disappointed. It just feels too safe.
Russos are back, safe. Yeah, very safe. But then it's like, how is that safe? If
you could argue
if there's something unexpected.
Sure, I guess you could argue that bringing the Russos back isn't as safe considering the movies that they've made recently. So take it for what that's worth. But obviously, we've seen they can do really great work under the MCU system. So, All right, now we can wrap it up. Again, thank you for everyone who supports the show on Patreon. If you want to do so, head over to patreon.com/TowerBabblecast. Follow us on Twitter @TowerBabblecast and head over to our website, towerofbabble.ca, to find everything we do, including all of our coverage of The Acolyte, if you were watching that and were looking for something to enhance your experience. Over at Small Screen Star Wars, our sister show, we did the entire season, so you can find that over there as well. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you have some theories for us regarding how they're going to make this RDJ Doom situation work, happy to hear it. Shoot me a DM on Twitter or send us an email, towerofbabblepodcast@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to read those. Of course, we record these live, the time of which is random, so you're going to have to subscribe to us on YouTube and Twitch, youtube.com/TowerBabblecast, twitch.tv/TowerBabblecast. Subscribe to those. You'll find out when we go live. Join us in the chat. Be part of the show. It's always a good time. I will be going on despite being out of work, I had planned on going on vacation next week. So that's still happening. So we'll be less around next week, but we're hoping to get back into a more regular standard episode Tower of Babel type situation following that. Again, targeting kind of like a bi-weekly schedule on that. So look for more on Twisters. That should be what's next on tap. We should be able to see that in theaters soon. And more, just more movies and TV stuff. There's never a lack of news, especially right now. Although we might be getting into a slow part of the summer. Things usually tend to slow down a bit. Either way, look for more TOB around the corner. But until then, we'll talk to you soon.